Hello, everybody. Namaste.
Namaste.
Namaste, everybody. How are you all?
We are fine, thank you.
Yes.
Yes.
Thank you, Gurudev, for hosting Africa today. Jai Gurudev. It's a privilege and an honor for me to introduce you today to esteemed panelists from Africa to hear and share your wisdom and how we can take Africa forward. This is the second of the 3 series that we are hosting, and the theme today is Africa Innovates, the role of meditation in driving innovation in education, health, and commerce. Our first panelist, Sri Gurudev, is Professor David Norris from the University of Botswana, and he has been in active research with agriculture and animal genetics, and he's also interested in teaching and curriculum, and he will ask you a question.
Yes. Good evening.
Thank you very much. It's such an honor. There are many documented benefits of yoga, including the cultivation of self-awareness, the enhancement of ethical behavior, promotion of inner peace and well-being. The question that I have then is, how can yoga be practiced to address the paucity of leadership in society, governments, and many institutions?
Yeah. Thank you, Professor. Botswana is such a beautiful country. I've been there several times, though it's quite a long time now. With your question, excuse me. How yoga can be or meditation can be useful in leadership. First of all, the leadership, be it in any field, whether it is social, political, or business field, leaders are under tremendous pressure. They had to cater to the needs and requirements of their followers or people whom they are leading. So here, people who follow, whether it is politics or economy, even if it's spiritual, religious, there is tremendous demand on the time of the leader, number one, on the attention span of the leader, alertness of the leader, and insight of the leader. Leader need to have deep insight and a better understanding of the situation. Now, if we are, is obvious to all of us, our perception gets very blurred. We are unable to see things how they are, and moreover, our intuitive ability almost dies. You cannot be intuitive if you are stressed, if you have too much pressure on you. But for a leader of to innovate anything or to guide in any situation or to envision something, you need tremendous inner strength or calmness of mind. Here, meditation provides you that much needed calmness. It enhances our intuitive ability. It gives us courage when we need it the most, because when you have to take care of responsibility of so many, you need to be well grounded and not to be impulsive and have a long sight, a long vision for the future. All these, can be achieved with a calm and serene state of mind which meditation provides you right away.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Gurudev. Our second panelist is the CEO of KPMG. His name is Mr. Ignatius Sehule, and he's a chartered accountant, and he's been challenged with trying to turn KPMG around locally, reputationally. So he will now pose his question.
I've been very familiar with KPMG. I've been to the Netherlands office and I've addressed the international, mission of KPMG there. It's a wonderful organization, very reputed, and they're taking care of many things. Yeah.
Thank you very much. It's really an honor for me. You may or may not know that the vision of KPMG is to be the most trusted and trustworthy professional services firm. The question that I have is, how do we harness meditation for all professionals at all times, even under difficult circumstances like under this COVID-19 or any other difficult circumstances that professionals find themselves working under? How do we ensure that at the core of their thinking and of their heart, at the center of what preoccupies them, even as they carry out these assignments for clients and for employers, how do we ensure that they keep saving the public interest first before anything else?
Yeah, I have a suggestion for all chartered accountants, lawyers, judges, and all those who have to work with numbers the whole day or logic the whole day. I would recommend them to listen to music as a ritual almost every day. See, because our brain is such that the left brain is logic and the right brain is music. So when you are giving so much load on your left brain by the numbers, by all your mathematical calculations and logic, the other part of the brain remains starved. So we need to provide for that side of the brain as well. So I would always recommend that lawyers, judges, and chartered accountants to listen to music, preferably instrumental music, in which words are not there, you are not catching on to the words or getting back to the meanings of it, but just listen the instrumental music. This would definitely make one feel more energetic and less drained. See, it's very draining. The work is so draining, and if you're drained, then naturally your emotions are topsy-turvy. So music is one thing. I would also recommend them to do breathing exercises. Breathing exercise will take us a long way into having a very healthy and calm, centered mindset. In all these testing times that we are undergoing, trying times that we are in today, we need inner strength. I would say the mental strength is very, very essential. If you have to be in the closed door and people are getting depressed, feel lonely, feel sort of agitated, then that will definitely reflect in their job as well. So the job or whatever they are doing, their profession, cannot be of high quality or very good or to their own satisfaction if they are mentally not calm. So here again I would say few minutes of breathing technique will help, music will help, and meditation definitely will give them tremendous strength. See, all day we work. By the end of the day, by the time sunset or by evening, you are exhausted. But if you take that little time, 20 minutes, and meditate in the evening, you will find yourself so much more cheerful till you go to bed. You feel very fresh and energetic. Meditation is good, but to be practiced either at noon time or even in the evening, it will really, really make a difference.
Thank you, Gurudev. And the next panelist is Professor Adam Habib, the Vice Chancellor of the University of the Witwatersrand, known as WITS. He's an active political scientist who is very passionate about education and social justice. So, Professor Habib.
Well, thank you for having me, and it's really an honor interacting with you. My question is that in a world that is moving online as we are now, how do we ensure that we do this in a way that doesn't disadvantage the poor? How do we mitigate against deepening inequality so that online doesn't simply happen for the rich and that the poor are excluded? Because if the poor are excluded, then we as a human community cannot come together. And if we as a human community cannot come together, we cannot address the collective challenges of our time, including this pandemic that we currently confront.
Yes, Professor Habib, I do agree with what you are saying. I mean, this is a big concern for all of us today in the world. You know, our youth, young people are either moving towards aggression on one side or to depression. Neither of this is going to help us. People who are depressed, they don't care for others. They don't care for themselves even. So there is no question of caring for others. On the other hand, people who are aggressive, they also have no care, no concern, no compassion for anybody else. And sometimes people who are aggressive, they harm themselves even more than they would harm others. So these two extremities that the society is facing today is because of stress. I would point out the stress as the main culprit in pushing our young generation in these two extreme state of mind, which has caused us so much suffering in the whole world. So we need to get people out of aggression and depression in order for them to be a normal, compassionate human being. A human being which is sensitive and sensible. Someone who is sensitive and who is sensible is possible only when they are free from stress. So I would say that again here meditation will help them great deal, and I have seen this happening even in South African prisons. We have done quite a bit of work where all those very aggressive people later on got rehabilitated and they started doing social service with all their heart. I mean, people couldn't believe this is the same people who are always coming to rob them are now giving a helping hand to the same people to uplift their spirit. I think not a single human being is born into this planet as a bad guy or a person without compassion. No, everyone is born as a wonderful, beautiful young child. But due course of life, somewhere we miss and we get stressed out, and then our people end up as the so-called bad guys. In my view, I don't see there is any bad person on the planet. They're only either sick mentally, emotionally, spiritually, or they are ignorant. In either case, we need to help them out.
Thank you, Gurudev. Next is Professor Paddy Upton. He's the head coach in professional T20 cricket. He's a mental coach to professional athletes and the professor of practice at Deakin University. Professor Upton.
Thank you very much. Good afternoon, Guruji. The last time we met in person, I think it was 2011, I visited you with some of the Indian cricketers, and lovely to see you, even though it's across a computer screen here. My question for you, when we look back at this period of COVID-19 from some point in the future, we will notice that some leaders have led their people successfully through these difficult times, and some leaders would have not. And I'd be interested to hear from you what you see as one or two of the key things that successful leaders of organizations and countries would have done well.
I would say someone who is committed to a work, who just want progress in whatever field they are coaching or leading. When they put their heart and soul, and I think that is success. The success in the very attitude and the action itself rather than the end result. Suppose you have 10 students who come to you and you put your 100%, and not all the 10 would go to get the first rank. It's impossible. But every inch they have made a move, I think we should consider that as a success.
Thank you.
Thank you, Gurudev. Then there's Dr. Kumi Naidu. He's the former head of the Amnesty International and the Greenpeace. He's the first African head of Greenpeace. Dr. Kumi Naidu.
Thank you very much. I should start by saying that I just finished yesterday a crash course in the happiness program with the breathing and meditation organized by my wonderful friends in Art of Living South Africa. I am very grateful to have had the chance to do it. And ironically, it's the coronavirus that enabled me to do it, because it forced me to stop and so on. And even though I only did it at 55, I want to believe it's better late than never. And I encourage all my fellow panelists to consider doing it if they haven't. I put it to you, Gurudev, that while the world is focused on coronavirus right now as the big global pandemic, that in fact the worst disease that humanity faces is not coronavirus, not influenza, but it's a disease we can call affluenza, which is a pathological illness where humanity has been led to believe that a good, meaning, decent life comes from more and more and more material acquisitions. In fact, the coronavirus has shown that the poor actually subsidize the overconsumption of the rich. So while we are all desperate to go back to normal, including myself, and I'm sure you as well, we have to ask ourselves, do we want to go back to a normal that is about unsustainability, it's about inequality, it's about injustice, it's about the oppression of women, it's about not treating prisoners like human beings, and so many other issues. So my question to you is, what is your definition of the kind of normal that we should be going to? And can meditation help us solve one of the worst diseases, the worst disease that humanity faces, that of affluenza, overconsumption, unsustainability, inequality? Thank you very much.
When we are not sensitive towards the need of others, and we don't listen to the nature, and we have no long sight, far sight into the future of the world. If we are short-sighted in our plans and plans and programs, then the planet is not in safe hands. People should wake up and see that our programs, our plans must be sustainable. We must care for environment. But one thing I would like to tell Mr. Naidu, that 20 years back, nobody even spoke about it. When we were raising voice, when people like you and Greenpeace and us, Art of Living, we were so concerned about environment. But luckily today, all the governments around the world are talking about environment. Those days, if you talk, I'm talking about 30 years back, 40 years back, when we spoke about, to be sustainable in environment, to save rivers, to save trees, to be concerned about the weather and, about global warming, and people would just look at us as though you're talking from some other planet. You must remember that. I think in those days, nobody cared for environment. People were just going left, right, center and doing mining, and they were cutting trees, and they thought these are some sort of outdated thinking of trying to protect the environment. But luckily, I'm happy that today there is a lot of awareness about it. We kept on and on and on. We ourselves in Art of Living planted 85 million trees around the world. We have saved about 43 rivers which were dying, which were just on the map only. There were not really no river on the ground. So when we keep doing what we think is the right thing for the needs, for the creation, I'm sure people will follow that. Coming to this consumerism, I would like to tell you the younger generation have a fad these days of living with minimal things. Young people between 18 and 25 and 27, I see them all around the world, they are not thinking about big cars or having 2 cars or 3 cars. No. Their interest is something very different. They want to have a happy life. They're looking for happiness. They just enjoy having small little jokes here and there. They create many fun things. So I hope the coming generation, I'm sure they will not be so greedy, and they will not destroy the planet Earth. I'm sure they'll be very sensitive, and they're much more sensible because they saw people of the previous generation, in spite of having all affluence, they were not happy. So they were lonely, they were desperate, they were angry, they were upset. And kids catch them they're very smart, they catch it. And they say, we don't want to live like that. So that is one, it's a ray of hope for the coming generation. At the same time, there is a lot of poverty on other side, which we need to be aware. There is empathy is needed there. We need to give that helping hand to people. There's a lot of poverty and lack of education. I was telling, we need to make our Asian and African continent 100% educated in the coming decades. If we take this as our challenge, we simply go on educating our youth, educating in human values. It is very important. Then the conflicts can be done away with. That would help us a great deal. What do you think?
I agree with what you said. I do think, however,
thank you, Gurudev. In the interest of time, we've got 4 more panelists. So
Okay.
if I can please ask number 6 to begin. It's Ms. Juliet, who's the Director of Education and Social Services at Kampala. So she's in charge of education within Kampala. Yes. Juliet?
Yes, thank you very much. It's an honor for me to be a part of this panel. And I would like to say that COVID-19 has led to many parents staying at home and bonding with their children more. All over the world, I must say, the children have acquired many values and skills other than the formal education that they always have. And this would usually not happen in the normal situation because the parents would be out looking for money to look and support their families. So my question to you, Gurudev, is that what advice would you give to parents to balance their time better in order not to fail to carry out their parenting role?
It's a very valid question. Even after this lockdown is over, I would recommend that we should have 1 week of well-planned lockdown every year, so that the family bonding happens much stronger.
Yes.
Environment gets a breathing space. The environment can breathe. Nature can rejuvenate itself. Having said this, I think this has rekindled that trend which we had in the past, that families would sit together at least on weekends or on different times every day. And now I would say the parents should continue at least sharing a meal or two every day with the whole family, and spend some time with the kids. It's usually kids spend with their pals, and family, the parents spend time with their own thing. I think they should balance between work and life. Yeah.
Thank you. Thank you very
Thank you,
much.
Gurudev. The next panelist is Dr. Adriana Marais, and she's the founder of Proudly Human. Adriana.
Thank you. It's such an honor to be here. And I should say, such a great pleasure to see you again on the screen, Gurudev. We had the fantastic, for me, opportunity to meet a couple of years back at the Art of Living ashram in Bangalore. And
Yeah,
we exchanged a few words on my dream of exploring worlds beyond our own planets, and my vision of becoming one of the first humans to live on the planet Mars. So my question could have been around what, in your opinion, would be the most fundamental and important principles on which we could establish a new society if we had this opportunity to start from scratch. But many people enjoy that question. It can be fun for them because it's an imaginary exercise. So let me make the question even more difficult. I think we have the opportunity now in this lockdown, the circuit breaker, this stop of activity on Earth, to really reflect on how far we've come as humans, but how far we still have to go. So my more difficult, perhaps, question for you, in your opinion, what are the fundamental principles on which our society on Earth should be based? And even more importantly, how can we reflect in this time on what steps we should take towards achieving this utopia, not on an imaginary, not so imaginary for me, place such as Mars, but right here on Earth? What steps can we take? Thank you, Gurudev.
First of all, we need to teach ourselves how we can handle our own mind, our own emotions. If our emotions are flying haywire and our thoughts are not in our control, then we don't know what we are doing, right? So we need an education about ourselves. Yeah. See, when you get a car, first you learn, you have a manual that comes with it. Then you know what is where, right? You get in any technology, any instrument, new instrument, a manual goes with it. But for life, we come with no manual. We don't know how to operate ourselves, our emotions, our ego, our intellect, our memory. So first and foremost, we need in our education system good behavior. Good behavior is the behavior which you don't want others towards you, you should not do towards others. That's a baseline. If you are in business, you don't do something to your customer what you don't expect your vendors to do to you. These baseline that we must really touch upon, basic ethics in life, and compassion. If human beings are robbed of their compassion, they cease to be human beings. But we do very little to nurture this fragrance that nature has kept in us. So I would say we need to give all this, and then we need to educate ourselves on how to take challenges. Life will not be all smooth. There are thorny bushes around, and there will be dark days that we may have to face, but we must equip ourselves. So the strength to, go through tough time is something that, that also can come through education. Yeah.
Thank you, Gurudev. There's two more panelists. The next one is Mr. Manar Muni, who's a businessman from Botswana, and he was instrumental in starting Art of Living in Botswana in 1996.
Yes, Manohar Muni ji, how are you?
Jai Gurudev, Jai Gurudev.
How are you doing?
I'm doing very well. I think at 82, I still have lots of energy. And I know that it comes from the inspiration that you gave us some 24, 25 years ago in Botswana. It's been a long time, Guruji, and I've been at the ashram on 2 occasions, but both occasions you were traveling. However, I did spend quality time with Bharat Bhai and Hemaji. Guruji, just to fly the Botswana flag, if you don't mind, we were not only pioneers in starting Art of Living in Botswana, but we started it in Africa. And it's from Botswana that it went to the rest of Africa, just to fly the little flag for Botswana.
I know.
Guruji, my question, COVID-19 seems to have brought about an awakening that together with economic growth, we also need moral and spiritual growth. What then is the role of meditation in politics and business? Also, it seems that a crisis can bring about the best or the worst in people. What can we do to bring about only the best?
Well, this
Guruji?
very question, if everyone start asking what is that we can do to make the world a better place, what is that we can do? See, after this lockdown, after Corona-19, the world will not be same. There is a lot of changes both in mindset and in the working style. Already people have started working through internet, work at home. And the coming future, even educational institutions may also all have to go online. So we'll be doing many things online, of course. But at the same time, a lot of precautions need to be taken, because this has in somewhat shaken people's faith in interaction with others on a physical proximity. The people will still be afraid to go in gatherings, or even games. People go and play games, and they would be concerned. There will be a lot of concern in this, and it will continue for some more time. But I would say, post-Corona, more compassion in workplace is what we can expect. There will be more compassion, more togetherness, and the world as one unit will start moving towards the next level of economic growth. So this situation will be taken as a diving board for a better economy around the world.
Thank you, Gurudev. Gurudev, we have our last panelist. It's Professor Salim Karim, and he's leading the COVID research in the country, and he's advisor to the president, and he's renowned for his research in HIV as well. So we all look to him for when we end the lockdown. Over to Professor Karim.
Yes, Mr. Salim. You have to unmute.
You are on mute.
Hello?
You are on mute, Professor Karim. Okay.
No.
I'm unmuted.
No, yeah, now I can hear.
Good.
Now we can
Well, thank you very much, Guruji. It's an honor and a great pleasure. I have interacted with many of the people who follow you, and I hold you in incredibly high regard. As we think about the situation we find ourselves in, a situation where a virus that we cannot even see with the naked eye has infected over 4 million people. We have hundreds of thousands of deaths. And what this virus has done, it has taken away from us the very thing that defines an important part of our humanity, the way in which we interact with fellow human beings, the way in which we establish our emotional bonds, the way in which we relate to family, friends, colleagues. All of that is being redefined. As we think about this being a long-term problem, I do not anticipate we're going to have a vaccine within the next 12 to 18 months. We're going to have to learn to live with this new normal. I'd like to ask you, how can we, as a human species, rediscover our humanity, find a way to still thrive as a nation, as a world, and as a people, despite this virus robbing us of one of our best strengths?
Yes, Professor Curry, but a very, very valid question. What can we do? Okay, we find vaccine for this. What if another virus appears down the line, another 4-5 years later? You may come up with similar virus, one more, So we cannot reel fear all the time, number one. Second is, when people think about the virus, they think about, oh, this is the end of life. That means when there is no medicine for it, that means this is it. This is where they need proper guidance and education. The mortality rate of this is only 3%, 3.5% or so. Not everybody dies because of the virus. We all live with many microbes, many viruses in our lives. Well, this is a newly discovered one which spreads very fast. And I think our immune system is so strong, our genes are so strong, so our body will get its own self-defense system much stronger to face such things. So here again we need to improve our immune system. That is most important, because there are many type of influenzas that come, many type of viruses that people have been experiencing, and so we need not be paranoid about this. Yes, we want to be very careful so that it doesn't spread, and we are taking all precautions. At the same time, we must see that the population is not pushed to the brim of paranoia, where we have a huge mental health problem. Now already a big chunk of our population is suffering from, has started this obsessive compulsive disorder. They go on washing their hands. In the beginning days in the television, they saw you have to wash your hands so many times. Now this obsession has taken over. And many, those who do not even have any contact of virus, mentally they start feeling there is something wrong in them. In the hospitals, doctor had to stop, tell them, don't come to test unless you have serious symptoms. Because our mind plays a huge role here in keeping our immune system strong and fighting the epidemic. Otherwise, if the mind is weak, we very easily succumb to it. Of course, there are many research work is happening, even in Ayurveda, some research work is happening in how whether through herbs we can combat this. I remember when we had the issue of tuberculosis in the world, when there was no medicine for tuberculosis, when people were quarantined for that. There was such a paranoia. Today, that has subsided. That is not there anymore. So maybe Ebola and many other, swine flu, all these came as a big wave and they disappeared, but humanity marched ahead. I think this will happen with this one also.
Thank you so much, Gurudev.
But I wish you all success in your research work, and please continue and see if we can do anything. And we have some Ayurvedic thing also. If in South Africa, if the institute and university would like to do research on this, we would be more than happy to share some protocol and see what we can do together. Lovely.
So wonderful, Guruji. And on behalf of Africa, we'd like to thank you for spending so much time. You gave us more time than we were allocated. We're very, very, very grateful for that. So thank you so much, Gurudev.
Now the world is waiting with us for meditation. They're already waiting few minutes. We'll now start the meditation, yeah? Okay. Thank you. Thank you very much. Meditation is not doing anything, it is relaxing. It's an art to consciously relax. When we rest, we sleep, we are not conscious of our being there. When we are active, we are not restful. Meditation is an act when there is restful alertness. Your body is at rest, mind is sort of alert, not too very focused. To do some act or to take any action, you need focus of mind. You need presence of mind and focus of mind. But meditation is not an act, so it doesn't require any effort. It is simply relaxation. Yeah? Our mind, when it relaxes, when the mind becomes aware of the space around us, it starts relaxing. And this is exactly what we are going to do. We are going to sit straight with the spine erect, body relaxed, and close your eyes. Our eyes are closed, but still our mind is right in front of our face. Now, let us become aware of this space in front of us. Let us keep our attention in front of our body to a distance of about 1 foot. Or 12 inches of space in front of us. Let's take a deep breath in and breathe out. We are breathing in and breathing out from this space. The air in this space is what gets into our lungs and then it comes out. Let's just become aware of the space of 1 foot in front of us. Now slowly let us bring our awareness, our attention closer from 1 foot to half a foot, about 6 inches of space. 6 inch of space in front of us, almost very close to us. Now let us take our attention on our body. Let us become aware of our whole body. Our body has billions and trillions of cells, and there is enormous activity in each cell of our body. Honor your own body. Body is our first dimension. Breath is the second. Now let us attend to the breath. It's the breath that gives value to this body. From the time we came into this planet till our last moment on this planet, it's the breath that's going to keep us alive. Let's take a deep breath in and breathe out. Another deep breath in. Hold the breath and let go. Incoming breath energizes the body, and outgoing breath brings relaxation. This phenomenon is happening all the time. This phenomena is happening all the time. Let us pay a little more attention to our breath. Let's notice the temperature of the breath, the volume of the breath, and the rhythm of the breath. Let's move to the third dimension, our mind. Our body is like the wick of a candle, the mind is like the glow all around it. When we are relaxed and happy, the mind expands, and we get tensed and sad when the mind shrinks. Let's take our attention to the top of the head. Just find a little spot, a tiny spot on top of your head. above the hypothalamus, the center of your skull. A gentle attention there. Now let's take a deep breath in and breathe out and relax even more. Let's become aware of the ceiling above our head and the space up to the ceiling. Whatever thoughts are coming in the mind, just let them come. Good thoughts, bad thoughts, reasonable, unreasonable, let them all come. They come and they go the way they come. Let's not make any effort to stop the thoughts or concentrate. Even listening to the instructions for meditation, let us go easy on it. Not too intently, but with relaxed mind. Mentally become aware of the walls of the room you are in. And let's take a deep breath in and breathe out. Let's pay little attention on the volume of the breath, temperature of the breath, rhythm of the breath. Notice they're already changing. Our breath has started becoming suppler, subtler, cooler, and more rhythmic. Let go of all your efforts. This moment is nothing to do and nothing to know either. So just relax and repose in yourself. The next 2 minutes, we are going to embrace the silence. Enjoy the silence. It's deep in our hearts. Let go of all your efforts and let us shake hands with the silence. Let us repose in the silence. You are peace. You are peace. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. And slowly and gradually you may open your eyes. Hello.
So good evening, everyone. So just today, I would like to introduce our guests, Nicolas Hulot and Tatiana Silva from France on this platform with Gurudev. And so Nicolas Hulot is a famous environmentalist from Europe. He is the former Minister of Environment under President Macron's government, and he is the founder of the Foundation for Nature and Humanity. So we're very happy to invite you, Mr. Hulot, on this platform. And Tatiana Silva is a TV presentator for major TV channels in France. She's UNICEF ambassador, and she will be moderating this conversation, this unique conversation today. And there will be a live translation on Gurudev's French YouTube channel at the same time. And I will just be translating a few sentences of what Nicolas Hulot will be saying on the international channel. So over to you, Tatiana.
Thank you very much.
Bonjour, Nicolas.
Bonjour, Gurudev. I'm fine to meet you again, and you look well. So I'm so glad to see you, and thank you to give me occasion to speak with you. And sorry if I will speak in French once again.
Yeah, no, most welcome.
Thank you, Dipali, for presenting us. It's my great pleasure to moderate this unique dialogue, and therefore would like to thank Gurudev for inviting us on this platform. Thank you very much, Gurudev. So let's start it. For many decades, we've been through several economic crises. Worldwide, we're having a major ecological crisis, and right now, a sanitary crisis still going on. And therefore, for the safety of the community, we have been forced to restrict our individual freedom. So, Gurudev, is it possible to live in harmony in our environment without renouncing our individual freedom?
Could you repeat the question, please?
I was asking Gurudev, is it possible to live in harmony with our environment without renouncing our individual freedom?
Yeah. Mankind has been living in harmony with nature for millenniums. We have been living with nature. And it is possible to live with nature. What really takes away the harmony is the greed in the mind of people. You know, the earth has more than enough for everybody's need, but it cannot cater to everybody's greed. It is the greed of mankind that is destroying the environment, not the need. The nature will give us food, it will give us all that we need in its capacity.
Thank you. Alors Nicolas Hulot, on sait que durant chaque crise économique, écologique, sociale, environnementale ou même sanitaire, on a le sentiment que la liberté individuelle s'oppose toujours avec le bien-être collectif et qu'à un moment donné, il faut renoncer à cette liberté individuelle pour la collectivité. Est-ce que vous pensez qu'on peut conjuguer les deux?
Nicolas Hulot, in each crisis, whether economical, environmental, social, we have this feeling that individual freedom is in opposition with collective freedom. Do you think we can combine them both?
D'abord, je salue de nouveau Gurudev. Vous aurez remarqué que pendant cette expérience et ces épreuves du coronavirus, nous avons accepté pour la moitié de l'humanité, sans nous rebeller, d'être privés d'une liberté fondamentale qui est la liberté de se déplacer.
So during this experience with COVID-19, we have noticed that we have given up the personal freedom to transport.
Nous avons accepté d'être privés de liberté parce que nous en avons saisi la nécessité et l'utilité.
So we have given up this freedom because we have seen the necessity for it.
Le mot liberté, c'est un mot dont chacun a une interprétation différente, mais qui porte en soi une forme de malentendu.
So freedom means everything different to different people, but very often it is misunderstood.
Étymologiquement, les racines du mot liberté, ça n'est pas une absence de règles, c'est au contraire, le mot liberté signifie c'est la loi ou la règle que l'on se fixe à soi-même.
So the source of the word freedom is not the absence of rules, but it is the rules that you fix for yourself.
Et je crois que c'est très important d'avoir conscience de la signification de ce mot parce que justement la liberté, c'est individuellement et collectivement et spontanément et rationnellement se fixer un certain nombre de règles individuellement et collectivement.
So freedom, it's very important to understand the meaning because we need to know, to fix the rules for ourselves individually and collectively and rationally.
Correct. I agree with what you're saying. You know, the word freedom could be very elusive because sometimes what appears to be lack of freedom in the long run brings freedom. For example, when we are children, mother used to say you have to brush your teeth. It was a discipline. That discipline we followed. So later on, we got freedom from toothache. If we had not followed the discipline, we would not have been free. So what appears to be discipline in the beginning later gives us freedom. What appears to be freedom many times later on can be very binding to us.
Oui, Gurudev, vous avez raison et c'est probablement un des enseignements de la crise du Covid-19 que nous venons de traverser, c'est que si nous essayons de nous exclure des règles de la nature, eh bien, la nature, elle, à un moment ou à un autre, nous imposera ses propres règles.
So you're absolutely right, Gurudev. And I think one of the teachings of this COVID-19 is that if we exclude nature from the rules, then nature will impose its rules on us.
Quand on regarde ce que l'on appelle le petit dénominateur commun entre la crise économique, la crise écologique, la crise sanitaire, ou même, je dirais, la crise de civilisation que nous traversons, c'est notre difficulté, je dirais même notre incapacité à nous fixer des limites.
So when we see the common ground and the crisis that we are going through, we see that it is our incapacity to fix rules for ourselves.
Et en réalité, la vraie liberté, c'est d'être capable de se fixer des limites, c'est-à-dire de nous extraire d'un conditionnement dans lequel nous avons été projetés et qui nous donne l'illusion que la liberté, c'est de ne se fixer aucune limite. C'est une illusion.
So the true freedom is the capacity of fixing rules for ourselves, and it's an illusion to see that we can live without that.
Also, that our freedom cannot take away others' freedom. We have to see that others' freedom is protected. Only that is the right freedom.
I agree with that, Gurudev. Et ce que je voudrais rajouter, c'est que pour que cette crise du Covid-19 ne soit pas vaine, eh bien, nous avons maintenant individuellement et collectivement un exercice à appliquer qui est de choisir individuellement et collectivement ce à quoi nous allons renoncer, ce que nous allons transformer et ce que nous allons développer pour ne pas sacrifier l'avenir au présent.
So that this crisis doesn't go in vain, we have to do this exercise to choose individually and collectively what we want to renounce and what we want to develop so that we do not renounce on the future.
Correct.
Thank you, Nicolas. Merci, Nicolas. So we're seeing that discipline can bring us freedom, but we still sometimes have to renounce to our freedom for the collectivity. So my question is, we're seeing collateral damage, so stress, anxiety, fears. I was reading a recent article from the World Health Organization was talking about more than 50% of the US population is showing tangible stress symptoms. So it's quite huge. And we will probably face other crises in the future. So, Gurudev, how can we cope with these symptoms and how can we develop our resilience?
You know, stress is when we have too much to do, too little time, and we don't know how to handle it. We don't know how to handle a situation. It becomes stressful to us. Here we need more energy, more power. That's where meditation becomes an inevitable thing. If you do meditation, you are able to get rid of stress. You are able to tap the source of energy that you are. Like when you are tired, you go to bed, and when you wake up, you feel fresh. You are able to handle yourself better. In the same way, meditation is the answer for all those who are stressed to come out of stress and to face things with more energy and more clarity.
And what about the resilience, Gurudev? Is it through meditation also we can develop our resilience?
Yeah, meditation is, definitely. Meditation and breathing exercises, breathing technique will be of immense use here. Yeah.
Thank you. Alors, très souvent dans l'histoire, on a remarqué que l'homme a vraiment du mal à sortir de sa zone de confort, que ce soit via une crise économique, via une crise sanitaire, comme c'est le cas aujourd'hui, ou une crise écologique. Il a vraiment du mal à sortir de sa zone de confort, si ce n'est quand il est obligé de le faire. Selon vous, cette crise, Nicolas Hulot, est-ce qu'elle va être finalement salutaire à cette cause que vous avez cœur à porter depuis tellement d'années, qui est quelque part l'équilibre entre l'homme et la nature, l'homme au sein de la nature?
So too often in history, we have seen that man comes out of his comfort zone only when he is forced to. According to you, could this crisis be a trigger for the cause which is so dear to you, Nicolas Hulot, meaning harmony between man and nature?
Je croise mes doigts.
I cross my fingers.
Je l'espère parce que, vous savez, Nelson Mandela, vous connaissez l'une des jolies phrases de Nelson Mandela, il dit « Je ne perds jamais, soit je gagne, soit j'apprends ». Alors, est-ce que nous allons apprendre de cet épisode que l'humanité vient de traverser?
So I really hope so. And this line of Nelson Mandela, I never lose. I either learn or I win. So are we going to learn from this crisis?
Ce que nous avons appris dans cette crise,
what we have learned from this crisis,
nous avons été confrontés brutalement à notre vulnérabilité.
We have brutally been forced to see our vulnerability.
Nous avons été confrontés brutalement à notre communauté de destin.
And brutally facing our common destiny.
Nous avons appris aussi brutalement que l'homme ne peut pas s'exclure de la nature.
And that a man cannot exclude itself from nature.
Que la nature est un tissu très fragile et que si l'on coupe un fil à l'autre bout du monde, eh bien, à un moment ou à un autre, il y a, comment dire, un effet qui se fait sentir à l'ensemble de l'humanité.
And nature is fragile. If you cut the thread at one end of the world, the effect can be felt everywhere.
Donc, nous avons appris que nous ne pouvons pas nous développer sur le dos de la nature.
We cannot develop at the risk of nature.
Nous faisons partie de la nature.
We are part of nature.
Nous sommes la partie consciente de la nature.
We are the conscious part of nature.
Et donc, le modèle de développement que nous devons organiser demain, c'est un modèle qui ne se fait pas au détriment de la nature.
So the model of development that we need to make is not something that will destroy nature in its way.
La nature multiplie et nous, jusqu'à présent, les hommes, nous divisons.
Nature multiplies and we men are dividing.
Donc, nous devons nous inspirer de la nature.
We should be inspired by nature.
Nous avons tous les outils pour faire un saut qualitatif.
We have all the tools to make a qualitative jump.
Mais il faut arriver à un degré de conscience qui soit au niveau de notre intelligence.
And we need to come to this level of consciousness which is as the same as our intelligence.
Et donc, cette crise qui nous a fait réagir parce que nous avons senti le danger immédiat.
So the crisis made us realize the immediate danger.
Doit nous apprendre qu'il faut réagir avant que le danger soit palpable.
So we need to act before the danger becomes real.
Et pour la crise écologique ou la crise climatique, qui est probablement la menace la plus importante qui pèse sur l'humanité, n'attendons pas le dernier moment pour réagir.
So the threat, environmental and climatical threat that is threatening us, let us not wait till the last minute to take action.
Les gouvernements et les citoyens ont été capables de prendre des mesures exceptionnelles parce que la situation était exceptionnelle.
So government and people could take exceptional steps because the situation was exceptional.
Mais la crise climatique est une situation hors norme et il faut prendre des mesures hors normes pour éviter d'en subir les conséquences.
So the climatic condition is something that is abnormal, and we need to take measures to combat that.
Et donc, il faut que nous acceptions, nous les citoyens et les citoyennes, probablement de changer nos comportements et de décider ensemble ce qui est toxique ou de ce qui est vertueux.
So we need to decide as citizens of the world what is toxic and what is not in this world.
Voilà, nous avons une métamorphose à organiser. Elle ne pourra pas se faire dans la confrontation. Elle devra se faire dans une vision partagée.
So we cannot have a metamorphosis that is in confrontation with one another, but in harmony.
Thank you, Nicolas. Merci beaucoup. I'm going to go further with my third question for you, Gurudev, and it's about the manifest of Nicolas, 100 proposition, and one of those proposition is to synchronize science and consciousness. So, Gurudev, how do we find a balance between both? Are they opposite or complementary? Because we've seen that progress has been made with science, but not sometimes serving the values, the right values. So how we find a balance between science and consciousness?
Well, first of all, we should do away with this idea science and consciousness are two different and opposite things. No, they are not. Consciousness is what the whole universe is all made up of. And science is studying that consciousness, systematic, logical understanding. It's the consciousness which studies. The ability to study, understand is that of consciousness. Because dead materials or material where there is no consciousness cannot understand science. Who understands science is consciousness. And so consciousness is the subject and the matter is the object for which, on which the science is developing. Now, subject-object relationship is known to us very well. They influence each other. It's the subject which influences the object. Theory of relativity stands on this. So today, science is not in any way opposing consciousness. That we must make sure. Now, what are the qualities of consciousness? It is peace, care, love, intelligence, intuitive ability. It is creativity. All this is part of consciousness. Now, we need to develop this in society by developing human values. What we have really forgotten is to put emphasis on human values. And today, the situation has demanded that we have to be really more humane in our approach, even if it's science. See, all the nuclear treaties happened. Why? Because science inculcated in itself the human values. Otherwise, there would not have been an international treaty on nuclear energy. So human values or consciousness must be part of any scientific development. For example, developing viruses. There are two types of things. One is natural calamity that happens through nature. Tsunami happens or something else happens. Today, India is going to be hit by a biggest cyclone in the East Coast. So these are natural calamities. In Indonesia, we had the volcano coming up and the entire cities were covered with ashes. This is one thing. Another is man-made calamities. Man-made, in the laboratory, we make things. We created many poisonous gases which were not natural. It is through our industry, our, unsustainable development, we created many harmful things, which is not so good. For example, plastic. We created so much plastic that it is choking the marine life. So we must make sure that we avoid all the man-made calamities.
Alors, je vais rester dans la même thématique pour vous, Nicolas Hulot, c'est ce manifeste avec ses 100 propositions, mais toujours la même proposition, l'équilibre de la science et de la conscience. On a un peu l'impression que pendant de longues années, la science a été au service du progrès, elle nous a permis d'avoir beaucoup de confort, d'évoluer, de nous affranchir de certaines tâches et même d'évoluer dans le domaine médical. Mais aujourd'hui, parfois, on a l'impression que ce progrès, cette science est au profit plutôt d'une rentabilité, qu'elle est un peu coincée quelque part entre deux valeurs, une valeur pécuniaire et une valeur plus humaine. Comment on peut faire en sorte que justement il y ait cette synchronicité où on peut synchroniser les deux et que cette science soit plutôt au service des valeurs?
So keeping the same subject, the balance between science and consciousness. Science we see is very much dedicated to profit and profitability. How can we make science serve human values?
On voit bien que dans beaucoup de domaines, la technologie a dépassé notre humanité.
In many domains, we see that technology has surpassed human values.
Le progrès, au sens premier du terme, n'a pas fait que des erreurs. Il a fait franchir de nombreuses étapes à l'humanité.
So progress was not only an obstacle, but it made humanity go much ahead in its thinking.
Mais au fil du temps, nous avons dévoyé la notion première du progrès.
But we have now changed the meaning of progress.
Nous avons, été, précipités par deux principes, un principe technologique et un principe économique.
So there are two principles that overtook, technology and economics.
Tout ce que nous étions capables de faire, technologiquement, nous le faisions.
Whatever we were capable of doing with technology, we did.
Et tout ce que nous étions économiquement capables de nous acheter ou de nous payer, nous l'achetions.
And economically, whatever we could buy and do, we did.
Ces deux principes sont très dangereux.
These two principles I find dangerous.
Parce qu'ils ne se posent pas la question essentielle, est-ce qu'un progrès participe à l'amélioration de la condition humaine?
Because they do not ask the question if progress will improve human conditions.
Est-ce qu'il participe à l'épanouissement de l'humanité?
Blossoming of humanity.
Donc se pose la question essentielle qui est la question du sens.
So the main question is the question of meaning.
Et donc, pour que les choses aient un sens, il faut que la conscience précède la science.
So to make this, consciousness should go first before science.
Et dans un monde où tout s'accélère, la plupart du temps aujourd'hui, la conscience est après la science.
In a world in things which are moving so fast, we see that consciousness comes after science.
Elle émerge quand nous sommes victimes de notre propre succès.
And they come together when we are victims of our own success.
Donc il faut arriver comme vous le faites pendant une période de méditation, à faire en sorte que régulièrement, l'humanité ait des moments de pause pour se poser des questions essentielles.
So this is exactly what we need to do, like we do in meditation, where we need to take a break and humanity asks itself essential questions.
Dans ce moment du Covid-19, du coronavirus, nous avons une pause qui a été forcée.
And during this crisis of coronavirus, we were forced to stop.
Mais ça a eu au moins quelques vertus, malgré les grandes épreuves médicales, c'est que ça nous a amené à nous poser des questions essentielles.
So it had certain advantages in spite of all the medical challenges we faced. It forced us to ask the essential, important questions.
Des questions que dans la précipitation du temps ou dans l'euphorie du succès technologique, on ne se pose plus.
Questions that because of the time and because of the euphoria of success, we had stopped asking ourselves.
D'où venons-nous?
Where do we come from?
Qui sommes-nous?
Who are we?
Où pouvons-nous aller tous ensemble?
Where can we all go together?
Pourquoi, à un moment ou à un autre, nos actions et nos intentions se sont dissociées?
Why, at some point, our actions and our intentions got disassociated?
Quelle est notre responsabilité dans le monde du vivant?
What is our responsibility on this living world?
Et donc, oui, il faut faire en sorte que la conscience se synchronise avec la science et même la précède, car, comme le disait un grand philosophe Rabelais, que vous connaissez peut-être, science sans conscience n'est que ruine de l'âme.
So consciousness needs to come before science, as one of the great philosophers, Rabelais, said that science without consciousness spoils the soul.
Yes, thank you, interpret.
Wonderful.
Thank
That's wonderful.
I'm continuing because it's very interesting. So it means that we have to take time. Time is actually the most valuable thing that we have to think about our situation, the world where we're living in. And this time you didn't took it so much because since many years you have a common ground, which is your commitment to protect the nature and the environment. So Nicolas, you have your foundation where you are fully dedicated to that cause, and you, Sri Ravi Shankar Gurudev, with Art of Living, you have been developing massive projects, like already 43 rejuvenated, million trees planted, million of farmers trained to agroecology and organic farming. So you're really both convinced that we have to make a change. We have to change our behavior. So my question to you, Gurudev, is why people have so much difficulties change, why there's so much resistance, and how can we initiate a change in the behavior of people?
It's just lack of education, lack of awareness. Once you create awareness, I think people are good. They do, and when they understand, they take it up. You know, when I used to speak about environment 35, 40 years back, people would raise their eyebrows. They think you're from some other planet. You know, they used to think that I am from some other planet. They would not give much attention at all. Not one government till 20 years back would ever even take up the subject of environment. But today, see, all governments around the world have been talking about environment. They have opened the departments. Environmental clearance for industry was not a normal thing, was not there at all. I'm talking about 30, 40 years back. But now, any industry you want to put, you need to get environmental clearance. So I think we are moving in the right direction. People are changing. They only need a little more understanding, little more awareness about it. Education.
Sorry.
Yeah, go ahead.
Just one more question about this resistance to change, just on a personal level. What happens and how comes we on a personal level we have resistance to change? Is it Is it too rooted in our habits? How can we change that?
Yeah. Resistance to change comes due to two things. One is due to prejudice in the mind, block in the mind. Second is fear in the mind. People like to live in the comfort zone. Anything new, no, I don't want to do that. But young people, they want to take challenges. Young people don't have so much resistance. They want to experiment new things. They want to jump into it. So again here, meditation and the courses we give to help people to discover who they really are, help them to get over prejudice and drop this resistance for something that is good. Yeah.
Thank you. So for the people, they can go, of course, on the website of artofliving.com or .org and find the different courses that can help you out to just break this resistance. Donc, Nicolas Hulot, c'est votre cheval de bataille, la protection de l'environnement, la protection de la planète. Vous avez été confronté aussi à beaucoup de résistance et à différents niveaux, que ce soit au niveau des institutions, que ce soit au niveau individuel, au niveau de la collectivité. Est-ce qu'aujourd'hui, après toutes ces années d'expérience, vous avez mis au point une stratégie à adopter pour pouvoir initier, enclencher ce changement auprès des institutions, mais aussi auprès des individus?
So you have fought a lot to protect nature and faced much resistance from institutions and civil society. So today, would you be able to have a strategy to trigger this change, which is so crucial?
J'aimerais vous dire oui.
I would like to say yes.
Mais la réponse est plutôt négative.
But
car je me demande à titre personnel et avec beaucoup d'autres, comment se fait-il que depuis, pour ma part, plus de 30 ans, nous avons essayé d'anticiper sur ces menaces sans y avoir réussi.
So I ask myself also this personal questions, how is it that we have not been able to succeed in front of all these threats?
Peut-être que, comme le dit Saint Augustin, la peur de perdre ce que nous avons nous empêche d'atteindre ce que nous devrions atteindre.
So as Saint Augustine would say, maybe the fear of losing what we have stops us from going towards what we want.
J'observe, et l'épisode du Covid-19 le confirme, que nous ne réagissons que face aux dangers immédiats.
We always react to the immediate dangers in this, as we have seen in this crisis.
Alors, je crois qu'il faut d'abord quelques préalables pour que nous organisions une mutation qui n'est pas de faire table rase du passé, c'est de conserver dans les acquis historiques ce qui est vertueux et de nous séparer de ce qui est toxique. Le premier préalable, c'est d'avoir une forme d'unité sociétale, sociale, politique, laïque et religieuse.
So the idea is not to completely to wipe out the past, but what we need to do is prepare ourselves with a common vision of what is toxic and how we want to go forward. And be
au-delà des clivages traditionnels, définir posément ce qui est absolument prioritaire.
So outside, without the discrepancies, just to see the priorities first.
Et après, évidemment, additionner toutes les énergies de la nation, de l'Europe et du monde entier pour réaliser ces objectifs.
And then get all the energies together to Europe and the world, everything together to come towards our objectives.
Pour cela, il faut trouver un point de compréhension entre les responsables politiques et les citoyens.
And we need to find a bridge between governments and citizens.
Il faut expliquer aux citoyens que le monde d'hier n'a pas d'issue heureuse.
And we need to explain to the government that the yesterday's world did not have an happy end.
Parce qu'un monde qui ne partage pas la richesse et un monde qui épuise les ressources naturelles n'a pas d'issue.
So a world that is exhausting natural resources and does not know how to share cannot go forward.
Donc, dans un premier temps, il faut expliquer en permanence que le monde d'hier est un monde qui conduit à l'affrontement.
So the world of yesterday is always going to be in will always go towards confrontation.
Parce que c'est un monde qui conduit à la pénurie.
Because it is a world that gets us into lack.
Mais dans le même temps, il faut dessiner un horizon commun.
But we need to have a common horizon.
Et il faut là avoir des solutions très concrètes, dire à quoi peut ressembler le monde de demain, un monde qui n'est pas un monde de compétition, mais un monde de coopération.
And we need to see the world of tomorrow is not a world of competition, but of cooperation.
Que ce n'est plus un modèle économique où c'est la loi du plus fort qui règne.
Where it's not the law of the strongest that survives.
Et donc voilà, il faut changer l'état d'esprit qui a été dominant jusqu'ici.
So we need to change the state of mind that was dominating up to now.
Il faut un monde qui partage et il faut se mettre des règles pour partager. Et pour partager, il faut se fixer des limites.
We need a world that shares, and to share, we need to also put limits.
Et un monde qui protège, et notamment qui protège l'humanité, mais qui protège la nature, parce que l'humanité et la nature ont un destin commun.
And a world that protects humanity as well as nature, because both have the same destiny.
Voilà, il faut que comment dire, nous créions une nouvelle symphonie et nous avons besoin de chaque acteur. Chacun doit apporter sa pierre à la musique de demain.
And each actor has to bring its music for tomorrow. Together we need to act.
I totally agree with you, Mr. Nicolas, that this is an era from conflict to cooperation. No competition, but cooperation. And no coming to help, working together. This is very, very important that the world is going to see. I hope every nation is aware and they listen to these sort of ideas of moving away from dominance to belongingness. Wonderful being with you all. Very nice. What do you call it? Bonoi.